YouTube, I'm back with another video about one of my old guitars. This one is the one I've had the longest. It's not the actual oldest guitar, if you get what I mean. I'll show you a different one another time, but this is the one I've had the longest. I bought this, I think it was 1984 from the local guitar shop back in Ellesmere Port. I had a few acoustics before this, and I wanted a reasonably good acoustic, and these were kind of back then in style to a certain extent. So 80s, mid 80s, and it's one of these. It's not an Ovation, officially. It's a celebrity by Ovation. So it's the cheap copy, if you get what I mean. And let me try and get rid of reflections. It's going to be hard. Okay, but there's a lovely sunburst wooden top. But as you probably know, an Ovation has got a, plastic round back. This is the deep bodied version, which I thought would give better projection of the sound. I'm not so keen on the shallower body versions. Electrically they sound good, you know, plugged in, but acoustically I think they sound much better. So yeah, it came in 1984. I bought it new from the local guitar shop, and I've used it a lot back in Ellesmere Port, but also when I moved to Yorkshire to a place called Scargill House. This was being used almost every day in the chapel there, in church, singing along with lots of people, and after that as well. So it's been used all over the place. Busking in pubs, bars, that kind of stuff. That's what it sounds like, acoustically. It projects really quite nicely. I really like it as an acoustic guitar. Personally, I like it. I know they've got a bit of a bad reputation for being a very thick lacquer on the body, and yeah, it's plastic, so it's not tone wood, but it works for me. It fits for me. I've had it a long time. It's comfortable. It's also got a built-in piezo pickup underneath here, but back in the 80s, there weren't so many active pickups, so this has got just passive volume and tone control, and then you plug it in the back here to your amplifier, and it sounds like an Ovation. It sounds like a piezo pickup. It doesn't sound like a real acoustic guitar. So when I use it plugged in, I need to put a load of gain on because it's a no battery amplifier in here, and I roll the tone slightly off, take a bit of the top edge off, and it's got that Ovation sound, that amplified electric sound that people are used to nowadays. It doesn't sound like an acoustic guitar. And the story about this one, there's lots of stories with it, but the biggest one, and I'll show you a couple of close-ups so you get the idea. Well, we'll see. When I was in Yorkshire back in the mid-80s, as I say, it was used every day, and I lent it out to people so they could borrow it as well, because it's just an instrument. It's meant to be used so people could play it. And one day I was out working on the grounds with some of the other guys who were working out there, and a friend of mine came up, walking through the woods to the place where we were working, looking really upset and really, well, almost, I think she was in tears, and walking towards me in particular. And what's happened? You know, some news, I don't know what's going on. And she said to me, "Colin, your guitar." And she started to cry and explained it had fallen over and it's been damaged and she didn't know what to do. And I said, no problem, it's only a guitar. Let's go back, calm down, we'll be all right. So she took me back and she showed me what had happened, and basically the thing was in two pieces, and the headstock hadn't come off; it had fallen, and the whole of the neck, the entire neck, had come out of the body. So this was all literally held on by the strings and nothing else. So that was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. I was like, that's going to be a challenge to fix. I can't do that. So I took it to the local guitar shop in Skipton and asked the guy, "Have you got somebody who can do this kind of work?" Because I was a little bit worried, is this repairable or not? Or I can't certainly do it. And he knew somebody who could do it, and took it off me and said, "Don't worry, that's probably fixable. It's so clean a break." And after I got it back from the repair guy, he explained to me what had happened was probably originally when it's put together, they didn't put enough glue into the joint. So it was already weak. So when it fell, that's why it broke so clean. So he managed to repair it for me, and it came back just as good as it was before. I say just as good because there is a slight problem with this low E. Always had it. After the repair, it's the same. the intonation is not quite right on the low E, and I've tried adjusting the bridge a bit and I can't get it perfect, but you compensate. Tune it down slightly, and then everywhere fretted stays in tune, and then with the open chords it's just a little bit low. That's the only thing, but after the repair it came back just the same, so I was really happy with that. And since that repair is more than 30 years ago and it's still holding strong and used all over the place still, I take it to places where it's kind of safe, if you get what I mean, because yeah, there's just the guitar I've had the longest. Don't want to get rid of this one. Don't want to lose this one somewhere. We'll get it damaged. But I've got to use it. It's a lovely thing. So if you find one of these old ones, try it out, because they haven't got this great reputation, but I like it. I'm really happy with it. Particularly the deep-bodied ones. I'm not so keen on the shallow ones. I'll take a couple of close-ups because there is a little bit more damage on the edge of the neck here where it broke. There's a couple of cracks, and the repair guy said to me, "Yeah, I can colour it, but you'll still see it. So what do you want me to do?" And I said, "Well, if it's solid and stable, leave it. It's got its scars like everybody else has." Okay. So there's where you can see the tiny little nicks that come out of here of the lacquer when it broke out, and the guy couldn't repair that. There's also one on this side slightly, but yeah, that's the way it is. That's all, no problem. Also notice they're rather old strings. You can see they should be looking like this, shouldn't they? You know, the kind of. But you notice how the colourings change here because they're really corroded. I should change them sometimes. That's where my hand rests when I'm damping the strings when I'm playing. So you see these are really old ones now. And also there's a bit of fret wear on this. If I go up to the top of the neck here, also rather. This is where I play on the guitar. You know, all the cowboy chords and stuff. And you can see the frets are a bit worn. But I don't feel it as being a problem. I might want to get them replaced, feel up to it. But at the moment, it's still quite playable for what I do with a guitar. Could do with a bit of a cleaning new strings on sometime. Oh yeah, you can see the label on the side. It's Celebrity by Ovation. So it's their cheapest model. But like I say, it worked great for me. Okay, take care. Oh no, there's one more thing I've got to show you. Let me switch cameras, and I'll show you what I mean. The thing I want to show you about this is an 80s guitar, right? And back then, and maybe still the same now, there was a kind of very much a style thing with guitar straps. So recently I got a new guitar strap in the style of the one I had, the old one I had back in the 80s, which got so worn, so they start to kind of curl up and they never come back into shape, you know what I mean? So recently I got this one with a nice rainbow on, because that's one I used to have one of these. Because, yeah, it's the right time, you know, you had this on it and it's great. So yeah, get a good strap to go with your guitar, the right style for you. Something a bit flashy is always nice. Have a good day, everyone. It's Saturday here. Have a good one.